This story came to us without a location stated, and the witness dates it to roughly 6 years ago. What you're about to hear is her account.
I was 17 when it happened, just old enough to drive on my own, but not old enough to feel steady about it, especially on the back roads where I grew up. That night, I was taking the long way home after dropping a friend off. The highway would have been quicker, but I hated the way the big trucks barreled past me, so I cut through the mountains instead. The fog was bad, though. The kind that rolls in heavy and low, where your headlights don't light anything beyond a white blur. The road narrowed down to 2 lanes, barely room for one and a half, twisting so much I couldn't see more than a car length ahead. My hands were tight on the steering wheel. I kept leaning forward like squinting would make the fog part. The radio gave nothing but static. I tried switching it off, but the silence made me feel worse. It was the kind of quiet that made you notice every creak of the car and every bump in the pavement. I remember thinking I should have stayed at my friend's house a little longer, just waited for it to clear. But I wanted to be home, and the thought of explaining to my parents why I was late felt scarier than the fog at the time. I had just come around a curve when it happened. Out of nowhere, a deer shot across the road. Its eyes glowed in the beams of my headlights, wide and glassy, before its body vanished into the fog. I panicked. I yanked the wheel too hard, and the tires screamed against the pavement. The whole car shuddered and swung sideways. My stomach dropped like I'd missed a step on a staircase, only 100 times worse. Next thing I knew, the front end skidded off the asphalt. The tires scraped over the loose gravel at the shoulder, and the car tilted forward. My seatbelt dug hard into my shoulder, pinning me back while the headlights cast a sickly yellow glare into nothing but fog and black tree shapes far below. The world went dead silent except for the tick-tick of the cooling engine. I didn't dare move a muscle. Even my breath felt too heavy, like it might shift the balance and send me tumbling down into the dark. I thought about unbuckling, about trying to crawl out, but even the idea of reaching for the latch made my palms sweat. What if leaning forward was all it took? I pictured the car sliding, rolling nose first into the woods, metal shrieking and glass shattering, and me pinned inside. My mind drifted to the stories I had heard of people who went missing with their cars and being found months, years, or even decades later, having had single-vehicle crashes in odd or rugged places. Some places don't lend themselves to easy discovery of accident victims. The car in the canal in Florida, the sedan in the river under just a few feet of water but unseen for over a decade. The vehicle discovered by chance in thick brush beside a road, or down a ravine, or halfway down a steep mountainside, with the earthly remains of the unlucky occupant still inside. That could be me next. So I sat there, rigid, knuckles white on the steering wheel, waiting. For what? I didn't know. For the ground to give. For someone to come. For anything at all. Finally, I tried the door. When I shoved, it didn't budge. The weight of the car pressed the frame too tight against the ground on that side. Fine. Passenger side then. I turned toward it, but the whole car shifted with my movement, a sickening groan of metal. I froze, back pressed flat against the seat. My hand fumbled for my phone. I flipped it on. No signal. Not even one bar. Just the word, searching, mocking me from the corner of the screen. I tried the seatbelt next, jiggling the release button, but it was stuck tight, probably twisted from the way I'd been thrown forward. My chest rose and fell fast against the strap, every breath reminding me how trapped I really was. That's when I noticed the silence. No night insects, no frogs in the trees below, not even a whippoorwill. Just the faint tick of the engine cooling and my own breath coming too quick. And then came the crunch of gravel. At first I thought I imagined it, just nerves making me hear things. But it came again. Slow. Heavy. Too steady to be a deer. My breath hitched. I craned my neck toward the windshield, but the fog swallowed everything beyond a few feet. The sound came closer, deliberate, like something was walking straight for me. A shape began to form in the haze. Tall. My first thought was a person, but the outline wasn't right. The shoulders sloped different, the arms hung too long, and around the head was a ragged halo of thick, long hair, almost like a mane. The lanky body bore distinctly feminine curves. I couldn't move. My whole body locked up as the figure stepped closer, just far enough that the beams of my headlights painted it in pale yellow. It walked upright, yes, but the face was wrong. Not a human. This thing had a muzzle, high, pointed ears, the eyes glinting with their own strange shine. And yet, it didn't bare its teeth. It didn't snarl. It just placed one massive hand against the hood of my car, and the whole vehicle stopped rocking. The car went still under that hand, like all the weight had settled into solid ground instead of teetering over the drop. I sat frozen, staring at those fingers spread across the hood. They were broad and long, tipped with sharp, jet-black claws, dust smearing under their touch. Then it moved. The figure stepped closer, bracing itself, and with a low, steady sound, almost like a growl but not angry, more like effort, it moved my car. I felt the whole car lurch. Backward, metal groaned, tires scraped against the edge. I braced myself for the sickening slide down, but instead the car shifted onto pavement again. The nose lifted, and suddenly I was level, the wheels all planted where they belonged. I didn't dare breathe too loud. My heart was hammering, and I had no words for what I was seeing. The figure's chest rose and fell like mine, breath fogging in the cold night air. Its eyes flicked toward me through the glass, and for one terrible second, we locked eyes. They weren't glowing like an animal's caught in the headlights. The shine came from somewhere deeper, like wet stone catching a glint of moonlight, perhaps something golden, like pyrite. There was something steady in them, almost searching. I cannot say they looked soft and kind, but they certainly did not look cruel, just aware. The sharpness within them was not malicious, it was perceptive. The moment seemed to stretch longer than it should have. I don't know if I was actually frozen in fear or simply could not move for some other reason. My breath fogged the glass. I wondered momentarily if it was a mother. The shape of its chest did seem to suggest so, unless this creature is the sort to have mammary characteristics visible at all times, like a person. And then, without a sound, it stepped back, releasing me from that locked gaze. Before I could even think to roll down the window or call out, the fog behind me suddenly lit up, the glow of headlights rounding the curve. Another car was coming. I whipped my head back to the windshield, wanting to see if it was still there, but the space in front of me was empty. There was no sound of retreating steps, no shadow in the mist. Just the beam of my own headlights cutting across the road, showing nothing but fog drifting over asphalt. The car behind me slowed, its horn giving a quick warning beep before it crawled past. The driver probably just thought I was some nervous kid who'd pulled too far to the side. I wanted to flag them down, wave, say, "Did you see it?" But my hands wouldn't leave the wheel. By the time their taillights faded into the distance, I was alone again. The only proof it had been real was the way my heart still pounded, and the memory of those eyes holding mine in the fog. I don't remember how long I sat there before I finally turned the key. The engine coughed, then caught, and I eased back onto the road like I was afraid to wake something. Every shadow in the fog felt alive as I drove, every curve a chance for it to step out again. I didn't stop until I saw the glow of a gas station, its buzzing lights cutting through the mist. I pulled in fast, parking under the harsh white lamps like they could keep me safe. When I climbed out, my legs felt weak, rubbery under me. I circled the car just to make sure it was really fine, that I hadn't dreamed the whole thing. And that's when I saw them. Across the hood, faint but clear in the thin film of dust, two enormous handprints, each one bigger than a dinner plate, fingers spread wide, like they'd carried the whole weight of the car. I reached out, tracing the outline with my fingers. The dust smudged under my touch, but the size of it, the shape of it, stayed burned into my mind. Whatever it was out there, it hadn't let me fall. It's been years now, but I still think about that night. I never told anyone, not my parents, not my friends, because how could I explain it without sounding crazy? Even now, I'm not sure what I saw. Maybe it was some kind of guardian spirit. Maybe just something that doesn't fit into the world the way we expect it to. All I know is, it saved me. I've carried that with me ever since. I don't feel haunted by it. If anything, I feel strangely grateful. Sometimes when the fog rolls heavy across the hills, I catch myself remembering those eyes, steady and unblinking, and I wonder if it's still out there, watching, waiting for someone else who might need a hand.